In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto. Question everything, trust nothing. It's your boys, CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. And as always, it's Thursday evening. It's TA Thursday, so we got CVO in the house. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Doing good, man.
I was going to say, go ahead, Miguel. I'm doing good. Always a pleasure to be back. Thanks for having me, as always.
Glad to have you guys. We are going to dive into it this evening. TA, as always, if it's your first time here, Thursdays, we have CVO bless us with his knowledge in the TA space. So we're going to have some fun there. Make sure to smash the likes. Make sure you're subscribed. Listen, we need Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, both of our Twitters, Debate Crypto OG, and then also Danger Close Alpha. And the other thing we need you to do is, as always, jump into the Discord. Let's get it going. Let's have some fun. I'm going to pull up just to start. Take a look at the markets real quick. We have got, oh, that's for later. We're not going to show that yet. Hold on a second. That was your little Easter egg for the evening. Global crypto market is $1.82 trillion with a T, up 1.19% over the last day. Bitcoin up about 1.67%. ETH about the same at 29.29. BNB just back up over that 400 mark. Solana creeping on 100. XRP still letting us down. 64 cents, just hanging out down there, waiting for that to change. Terra up at $88. Actually, I should say down to $88 because it's down just a little bit. And then rounding out the top 10, we got Cardano and Terra USD, which is UST. I will say this is huge. Terra, the UST moving into the top 10, I think is big because they are using so much Bitcoin backing. People are taking notice. I just want to throw that out there. People are taking notice. So that's what we got to kick off what's going on in the markets. What, Miguel, you got anything that you want to do before CVO jumps in?
Yeah, let me do some quick TA real quick before CVO jumps in. No, man, I got nothing going on. Let's do this.
So, Paul, I know last week to this week, it's been a little uneventful. We will say we've probably ranged within maybe what $4,000 total.
And then they say Bitcoin is not stable.
I know it's acting like a stable coin. You're right. It definitely
is pretty good. What was last Thursday? 21st. So yeah, let's just see. We were at yeah, we were at like 40,500 last week when we were talking last. So
right.
So like, what do you think is causing this like massive consolidation, like this sideways movement, like
lackluster?
Yeah, like outside of the TA, I guess, what would be your opinion of like what is causing Bitcoin to stay so stable at a price point? Nothing fundamental is changing. Of same old fundamental things are always happening. More adoption, more whatever, but the price isn't even going up. It's not going down. It's not moving at all. Is not enough money jumping into the markets. Where is the money going? What are your thoughts?
For me, I mean, it's simple range bound market at the moment, and just as much as you think or that it appears right for the holder right now, yeah, super boring, right, in the sense of like only going up a couple of percentage here and there. But make no mistake that there is a lot of money flowing through this market all day, every day in the once again, just unfortunately through leverage, right? So. And the amount of people that come through floating 50x, 100x, there's a ton of just shakeouts. You got market makers building their positions in certain areas, things of that nature. So it's just one of those times, man, where we're probably destined, and I say probably, we're going to get a big move here, right? Very similar to how we got out of any other time frame when we've just ranged it out, right? Even up here, right? You got a nice 50% move to the downside. Obviously, this was a nice move to the upside. Very, same on the way down. So a big move is kind of on the horizon here.
Paul, let me ask you something real quick. What chart are you on right there?
I'm sorry.
I can't see. Are you? Oh, you're on the 4 hour. Okay, I see it.
Oh yeah, this is 4
so
hour. So
I see in my technical expertise, I see a huge head and shoulders pattern right there. Am I correct? It starts back in August. It looks like. I think if you scroll right there, just a little right there. Isn't that ultimately we have a big head and shoulders pattern there, right? Moving forward all the way over to, I can't see your pictures in the
Yeah,
window.
I mean, it could be. I think we've talked about this once or twice before, but you know, for me specifically, it's very similar to this major bear flag that everybody's looking at right now.
Okay.
And when you see these super obvious patterns popping up here on macro time frame, I mean, occasionally, yeah, they'll play out. I know we have had some, and I know this is what you're talking about, right? So I think this gives like a price target of like 13K or something, which is in line with everybody's 13K, this 14, 15,000, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, at this point though, I don't necessarily, that's pretty much invalidated to a degree, as we're just kind of like coasting to the side over here. You know, we kind of broke out of this area and had this one leg down, you know, that would kind of been the area and the time frame to see that kind of move down. But since we just kind of ranged it over,
Got it.
Personally, I just think it's more likely we're just in a major range, or if you want to go with the bear flag idea, right? So that is definitely the other case to be made right now, right? As everybody's looking at it in this sense, however you want to draw this out, right? We got this bear flag ascending channel, you know, however you want to look at it. Some are, you know, drawing it up to where you got, these are like daily time frame wicks, so you know you could have already broken down from it. And then that gives you another measured move downward of probably, you know, into the.
How do they measure the moves downward on the bear flag?
So you just take like a flag. Like I said, this is a massive. Really, this is more so like just a major downtrend. But regardless,
we thought, oh my god, we thought that head and shoulders was bad. This flag is gonna annihilate.
We're going down to 6K,
it puts you right down in the same spot, regardless. But yeah, I just personally, I don't think that's what will go down, right? But to not go against the idea that we wouldn't see lower, right? So I think that if we start breaking down from here anymore, I'll just run through the two scenarios right now, right?
Yeah, sure.
We really are just in a neutral position. You know, there really hasn't been a major direction made. You know, there's been a lot of opportunity throughout here, and I'll throw it on the current range that we're sitting in here, right? And without looking at this as the bear flag, which whatever, like that could be considered already broken down if you're looking at it a certain way, or you're at support, one of the two. So taking a different approach at this, right? Without looking at it that way, we're going to go into where we at here. And throw on our range here. So you got your range low, your range high, your point of control, right? So as far as downside would go, for me, I'd be looking for exactly where we kind of came down to and bounced off of this 37,700 area. This is a weekly level right here. And you can see how well we've been respecting this basically, and I'll zoom out to a little bit of a weekly time frame here. But this is one area between 37,700 and 38K that was coming in pretty important here. And if we do start closing below 37,700, that to me would kind of indicate that that's when we're starting to really break down lower. Whether or not that lines up with the bear flag, whatever the case is, I guess, however you want to look at it. But you can see here how we've been straight up holding this level here for weeks, week on end right here. Not closing a weekly below there. And even a daily, I don't think so, right? For the most part in the same time frame. So closing a daily candle even below this 37,700 would be indicative that we're going to come down and at least take these lows right here. All right, so that's going to put us back into the $32,000 or the $31,000 category. If we get down to $31,000, you can already imagine that the 13K target, everything's just going to be all out in the open. So that would be what everyone would anticipate. However, and I even like yourselves, right? Like, could you imagine if we got to a $13,000 Bitcoin, even if you're already in the market fully holding, what would you do? Like sell your house, sell your kids, sell your wife, like
sell your kids.
You would buy everything.
She's on the block.
But yeah, so I don't necessarily know if we're going to go that low, and we may not even get this break, right? This could turn around and be our low. Many are looking for some capitulation volume, which is something to be said. Which, for example, here, right, when you see these major downfalls here, you get a pretty big spike in volume. Kind of marking your bottoms, kind of marking your tops, right? So you see how we got that major volume there. So I know that that's something on a lot of people's mind as well. You tend to get, major daily bullish or bearish divergences on bottoms and tops as well, just like we had right here, right? So as we were coming down, price actions making lower lows over here, but you had the RSI making higher lows across the way on a daily time frame. These are things you want to see around, a bottom in the market as well. We don't have any of that right now. So that is, that's something to be said. And Not that that has to, that is exactly what's needed, right? So it's one of those things where you take it level by level. And to me, I think that this is the best approach right now, is just to kind of pay attention to the price action. So starting to close below this level right here, and that would, we'd be looking down towards these levels right there. We do have those doomsday levels that we talked about quite a while ago, right? And we got one of them down there in 32K. There's actually one other one at like 31,100. I just don't have it on here, but yeah. So I mean, there's levels to be had down here, and then you got the next stop if the NPOC doesn't hold, which is the golden pocket, basically from the entire move from the 2020 drop, 2020 crash. I'm going to look at it right from this low to the 69K high. You got the golden pocket comes in right there about 28. That would in turn wipe out everybody in this market from the last year and a half. That would take everybody's stop losses. That would take everybody, everybody would be selling at this point, trying to catch the drop back down to 13K or whatever the case is at the time. All speculative, of course, but yeah. So I mean, that's the downside, right? That's the levels that I'd be paying attention for, the why behind it in a sense. I think that looking at this as just a huge bear flag, could be a little dangerous in that aspect too. Not dangerous, but just in the sense of having that plan in place, and one of which is that with this range idea here, right, or not an idea, but the range outlined here. We discussed this the last couple of times as well. I'll go ahead and I'll cut this back to this portion. And when we were sitting here with this inverse head and shoulders back a few months ago, so in February,
everyone was thinking about a massive pump coming.
Yeah. And I mean, the measured move was like 58K, which is a major. And if we get back above these levels, 58K is that next level to really be paying attention for. But the thing is that when you're paying attention to it, you can overlay these patterns into the levels that you're looking at as well. And at the end of the day, what did we really do? Well, we came up and we got rejected right here at the range high. And when you get that, you're essentially going to rotate this range back down to the low. Came back up, got a lower high essentially the next time after that. And then, exactly what we did was rotate that range once again. And then we've just done that over. So with this bear flag idea right now, just kind of overlaying this with the current range as well, for upside bullish momentum. I mean, if we start, climbing higher, no matter what, like everybody's going to get excited. That's just how it goes, right? But I would imagine that if anybody or everybody's waiting, if people are panic selling down here a couple of days back, 37, 38, 39, and then they're going to wait, right, to see if this kind of runs it back up. Maybe you get to like 50, 51K, the top of this trend line, and then you get a pullback, and expecting this to just be a bear flag that's going to break to the downside. Many may end up missing that whole move in the sense of reality is that, you came down here to a major, macro support level right here on a quarterly basis, which once again, I'm only throwing this bear flag up here to kind of, show the correlation here. But it came in right at support. Essentially, you got your point of control as your next major target. You're in validation at this point. If you start breaking down below 37,700, then we're looking lower regardless. That would, in turn, I guess, break this bear flag too. So you see how the correlation is there. On the way up, however, you flip this $42,000 level. You got one other, major area to kind of be paying attention to. There's a couple other reasons around this area in this zone, but there's an untapped weekly pivot up here about 43,700. And then essentially, we flip this range high, which comes in about 44,500. This really would be, a really great indication of higher, right? And then, we got one level left, and that's going to come in right at that yearly key level that we've been looking at since basically all year, right? So now almost 5 months here. And that comes in right at this 47,700. So if we do get up here, we flip 47,700 closing basis. This is daily time frame once again. So you see how we just wick, get a daily above this level right here. Very likely we're going to 60K, and if not all-time highs by then as well. But yeah, that would be the up move out of there. I guess, like I said, you could kind of, overlaying the two ideas here. Regardless, it's still, a break of this level would be breaking this bear flag to the downside. The only thing is I don't know if I could marry that idea of going down to 13K, right? Like that'd be the one. So it'd really have to come down to, if we get to those lows, coming down towards that 30,000, 31, you'd probably want to be putting on some risk around that level as far as like a DCA idea or anything like that, just in case price action just turn around on you without That's what happens is everybody will get down in that notion that we're going to definitely be going down, way, way lower. And then it leaves everybody behind. So, and that's only if we go down. We could totally even just blast out of here from where we are now. You clear this yearly key level and things change, right? And this is at 47. We're a ways away right now. You got a couple of stair steps in between, just as we've had. And but we flipped that level and things start looking up for sure.
Yeah, excuse me. When we look at the charts right now, you've been talking about it for a while. We've been talking about ranges. And I think people will say, okay, so what happens if we get outside of the range? If we get, outside the top end of the range, if we get down below the bottom side. So I'm just kind of curious, just because it's fun and people love to hear it. Give me your bullish scenario, your bearish scenario for like just kind of a, hey, you know what? I could see it going to 60, 70, 80, or I could see it going down to 10, 15, 20. Just kind of as a, obviously, guys, none of this is financial advice. We're having some fun here. We're saying, hey, if we bust out a range high, where are we headed bullish wise, right? Let's give some hopium. And then if we bust down below the range low, which I think is about 37.7, where could you see that dropping down? Just kind of as a, with your expertise in the space.
So this is the entire price actions range that we're sitting in right now.
For the year, right?
This is actually over. This is actually from January 2021 all the way to now. So it's like the last 15 months, the total range that we've been in. You can see how important that yearly key level is at this point as well, because that's your overall point of control. So flipping this level is extremely a great sign to see if we get above this, right? From as far as a downside level, I would be really paying attention towards the bottom of the range here, coming about like I said, that $31,000 area. We'd be really close to these lows right here. So it'd be one of those things where it'd be a shame to not just come down and actually take them. But between this little region right here, I'd say this would probably be that bearish case. Would be to come back down around that 31 and let's just say that 28, 27, just because also, like I said, that would be the golden pocket of the overall, this overall bull run, so to speak. And as far as to the upside, even just for a short move up to the overall range here, that'd be 54,000. But I do think we'd have a really good chance of seeing 60K, 63K. And then if anything, challenging in and taking the, another stab at making some new all-time highs. If we do get to new all-time highs this time around, I do not think it's just going to be a few $1,000s. This is going to be a 15-month consolidation that is going to absolutely rip one way or the other, right? So even if, it could be to the downside, I don't necessarily, at this point, I think it's, I don't think that that's going to be what we see. But that would be what, I hope that answered the question.
So yeah. So essentially, the main volume overall there is between 30 and 50. I can't really tell for sure. 30 and 55.
31 and 55. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's essentially that main chunk of that range that you're talking about. And when we zoom out, it's crazy for those of you that haven't been in crypto or in stocks for a while. When you really zoom this out, if CVO like zooms out, some of these moves that look so big right now, they're just not. They're kind of a little blip on the radar. The run back in 2017. Yeah, he's circling it right now.
That was the whole bull run right
there. That was the whole freaking bull run right there. And so it's pretty wild as we continue to move forward and progress in the space where things could actually head. You hear a lot of people talking about 100K, 200K, 300K. Listen, those numbers are going to come to fruition. They are going to come around again. We've just been off on the timeline. The facts are we're headed there. We're just off on the timeline. And if you can be patient in the crypto space, I'm here to tell you from experience. Miguel can tell you from experience. Paul can tell you from experience. You will win. Patience.
The markets are just very different now than what they were before, right? We have NFTs, we have metaverse, we have DAOs, we have DeFi, we have so many other things that money is funneling into. And now we have institutions, we have countries, we have governments all talking about Bitcoin and adopting Bitcoin. So it's just a matter of time. The fundamentals have only gotten bigger and better with every couple of months that go by. So it's only a matter of time before we explode again, like we did 2017, like we did in 2020, all the way through 2021. It's only a matter of time before we have that next leg up and we really blast off.
Is there any point, Paul, at which you would look at the chart and actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's pivot over to a chart that I think is irrational right now. Let's pivot over to a lot of you have heard about ApeCoin. Okay, ApeCoin is the coin surrounding the Bored Ape Yacht Club, and the Bored Apes are getting ready to release, I believe, their land here in a couple days. And if you haven't been paying any attention to anything, the rest of the markets have been doing nil, and this thing has been absolutely ripping. And so sometimes what I like to see is
look at all that
history.
Is there history right there?
Well, right, there's not a ton there. But is there actually something sitting there as it relates? Is there a pattern that you could point at here, or would you be stretching and looking for it? And it's just, hey, straight up, this isn't old enough. This is straight fundamentals. What do you see here?
Only thing I could give you, man, is fib extensions, and
Okay.
that's just based off of the high to low. And I don't even know if you can consider this a high because this is the first day it hit. This is on Bybit at least.
Huge wick.
But you can see how it's being slightly respected here, right? As you're coming up, you get the 1272. That's your first main target, anyways. You see how we came up to it.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you got the 272s coming in right now, and the 2618. I mean, if we're gonna get a pullback, which you're actually getting a decent one right now, but if you're gonna get a pretty decent like pullback, probably to like a point of control, not point of control, like a golden pocket style deal. I'd be looking for it around that 2618, and that would. This is just an idea. You still have to see if it comes up and gets that rejection, but that would bring you back down towards about, I mean, nothing even crazy, pretty much where we were yesterday, $16. But that's what I'd be looking for. Otherwise, these would be the next couple targets here, which the next one is $30. And from there, we'll see how things progress. Really, the only way to start, getting additional projections is to get that pullback around here. Say we pull back to that $16 area. Well, then you can start pulling, additional fib extensions from there. And that's about all you got, though. You don't really have like any.
There's no history.
There's just nothing. I mean, yeah, but like aside from that, though, I mean, it's still gonna, obviously it's gonna run. And this would be kind of like your next little, run up here, just as an example. Kind of taking you up into like 38, 40. So these are just the next levels where you probably see some pullbacks here. Taking a look at the RSI though, daily time frame, and you're getting pretty gassed right now, sitting at about 75. On the RSI, the only thing with that is, you could see this kind of start dwindling down. Price action still continuing higher, just putting like bearish divergence pretty much. And this could last for quite a while too. So there's definitely a lot of hype behind this project. It is, one of the few that, just the ecosystem for Ape, is just out of this world. For everything that they just have created and produced in such a short period of time. It's a really hard one to call at the moment. I'm sure everybody's trying to short it, which is going to fuel the fire even more, right? Just like how we saw out of Waves, how we saw out of Luna, Zilliqa, a lot of those projects where because the whole market was down and you had those few that were up, everybody tried to short them thinking because this already ran 100%.
Where are you shorting projects like that?
You can short this on Bybit.
Can
you short almost anything on Bybit?
Not almost anything, but they got quite a few. Yeah, they got quite a few projects on there.
Okay. I didn't. Miguel and I were talking the other day about shorting a particular project, and I was like, "Dude, I don't know that we can short that project or not, just because it was a smaller project that we were talking about." I will look for the day, and I know it comes down to liquidity, and essentially the markets are not wanting to allow you. So let me back up. The reason that a lot of these projects, these assets, are not available for you to do things like short is because of, let's call it what it is, manipulation. Okay. So Bitcoin, to manipulate Bitcoin, we're talking about tens of billions of dollars to effectively like really get wild with shorting it. Right. And maybe that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. You could probably do it with tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, but that's a large amount. With some of these smaller projects, if we were able to, let's say Miguel and Nick had the debate crypto coin, right? We got the DC coin or whatever, and it's got a few $1 million of market cap. All right. And then we have somebody come in and they say, hey, I got about 500K. All right. What I need to happen, and it can be manipulated just that easy. And so that's why they don't. What I'm interested to see is ApeCoin continues to grow right now. Miguel, you said this before the show. I said that ApeCoin is a great example of nothing more than hype. And I do know that they're building. I do know that they're backed by the Bored Ape Yacht Club. But you made a comment that said, well, look at all they've done. They bought this project, whatever. Talk me through that thought process, because I still see it as being a lot of hype. Yeah, they're building a metaverse and they're like doing some stuff. Talk me through that.
They're just, dude, they're building the biggest brand empire in the NFT space. They own Bored Ape, they own the CryptoPunks,
Yep.
which are the originals, right? They own MeBits. They're producing the other side one that came on the little drink or whatever inside the little metaverse, whatever.
Yeah.
So like they're doing all these things, and yes, they're right now they don't have tons of utility like some other example projects, right? That a project that we're trying to build, other projects that exist out there, but they're doing a play in the metaverse and they just have brand recognition.
Yeah.
And the floor price of their project is just a luxury brand in the NFT space, right?
Yeah.
Why does everybody drink Starbucks?
Yeah.
Is their coffee the best coffee out there?
No,
absolutely not. But it's become a brand. When you watch a movie, the actors in the movie are walking around with a Starbucks coffee, right? They have the little Starbucks coffee. They're walking around Starbucks. When people in a movie walking around, they have an iPhone in their hand. You don't see them with Androids. You don't see them with some random phone that you've never seen
it's
before.
brand deals, brand recognition.
Yes.
They're driving Audis. It's the whole
the Ape Coin community, the whole Bored Ape Yacht Club thing, the Yuga Labs is the luxury brand of NFTs to flex on everybody. If you own one of those, you've made it.
Yeah. Paul, have you done any charting on any of these? Do you guys get into over in your trading group? Do you guys get into some of the more, I think you do, into some of the more speculative plays, like something like ApeCoin, something like, Zilliqa you had mentioned? Go ahead, Miguel.
A quick question. What you should look into this. I don't know if this is even possible, but I think there's some level of possibility to it. Doing TA on NFT projects.
Well, so that's what that's literally where I was headed to
CVO. I'm giving you a whole other branch here of $1 million company, baby. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't even know how, man, I've not messed with any NFTs, so I don't even know.
There are websites. There are websites that show you like the price trends that it's
price action on them,
and the price action going up and down, fluctuating throughout, and it gives you a time. It doesn't give you candles like daily candles or whatever, but I'm sure they could be developed at some point. And with the level of trading and NFTs happening, I think that's gonna be a thing. Literally looking at the charts of NFT projects and what to buy, what to get in, buying the floor price on certain.
It could be interesting, but I want to point out, OC Pet Doctor in the house, the blister doesn't form while you're getting burned. This ape thing is going to end badly. I want to touch on that real quick. I agree that there is a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for, irrationality in the market when these projects pump. It's not just the NFTs. It also moves into some of these assets. We saw it with Shiba. We saw it with SafeMoon. We saw it with Doge. It's irrational. They pump to ridiculous numbers when there's nothing truly going on. Hold on. But with this ape coin, the difference that I will say is exactly what Miguel was talking about. We've got a project that actually owns the brand now for the NFT space, the brand that started the whole NFT revolution, the brand that has 100 ETH floor price or whatever the stupid numbers are at this point. I don't even know what they are, but they're super, super high. And so I think that's the difference. People are going to get burned, no doubt. That's how these markets work. People are going to win, people are going to lose, and people are going to tap out and wash out. But that, I believe, to be the difference with this one.
I think it's only irrational, and we call it irrational because it's been a short-term thing. It's been a new market introduced. That's an irrational thing to happen. But if we look at irrational prices, why are Jordans worth so much? Do they make you play basketball better?
People just give them the value, man.
It's just the brands, right? People pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars. People make jobs out of getting in the line, buying these sneakers, and then flipping them in the secondary market. They make an entire job out of that, whether they're Jordans, Jeezys, or whatever. All kinds.
Did you just call them Jeezys? Miguel, you're sitting in timeout, bro. Miguel just called them Yeezys. Some Yeezys.
Relax. I was talking too quick. I threw the G in with the Y. Whatever.
So Paul, question for you. as it relates to, or TA Thursday, as it relates to the TA game, is there a point at which, when you're looking at a chart, that you can specifically say you'll be looking to make possibly a play? You sit down, you look at the chart, and you back away from it, and you say, listen, this is not playing by the rules right now. I'm going to push away from this. Is there things that you personally will look for with the way that you trade that say, you know what, next I'm moving on for another day, another 4 hours, another 8 hours, whatever? Is there anything in particular that makes you do that?
Are you referring to something like ApeCoin just kind of going crazy and like?
I mean, sure, you could absolutely look at that. That one I didn't think had enough history for you to show, but I didn't know, with the range bound trading, the volume profiles, the points of control that you're using at this point a lot with Magic. Is there a point that you and or Magic would look at a chart and you look at each other and you'd be like, yeah, not today? You know what I mean?
I mean, there's a lot of times, as far as it depends on how your trade is going to go. I mean, if it's going to be, you know, a short term, you know, it just depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, I mean, a lot of times if we just wait for the levels, man. You know, I think you had actually messaged me last week, right? Asking at about 39-ish or
I got
whatever.
stopped out, by the way.
Yeah. Well, but what did I say in that message? I was like, yeah.
I put the stop loss in where you told me to. It stopped out, and then it came back up. Hey, you know.
Well, no, but what I meant by that was, when you asked me that, I was like, well, at this point, it's kind of, you're in like a little bit of no man's land, because, you know, you're in the middle, right? So it's one of those things that we always say, like, you know, you can't diddle in the middle. And it's in the regard of, let me flip this screen around. You got my screen there? Yeah, cool. You know, and it was, like I said, it was probably, oh no, you know where it was? It was at the 2-year key level. That's where we were at.
We were right at like 39.7, I think, is where we were, and you told me to put a stop in at like 39.1 or something around there.
Yeah, so it was pretty much right here. This is actually where we were at the time when we had the meeting, not meeting, but our just last week when we were talking here on the show. We were at this 39K level, which originally was weekly open. A couple other levels, it was like literally right here, and we were talking about, you know, taking longs right here. And I was like, well, you can't necessarily, you know, be looking to take a long right here unless you're going to put a pretty tight stop loss, for this reason, that if you lose this level, we're going down in the range low anyways, which is exactly what happened. You probably got wicked out literally right here.
Yep.
And this was what I meant by that, is because, you know, and unless we really came down to this range low at this point, you know, this was really where you wanted to be paying attention for, even if you didn't get this 37.7. You know, kind of getting this little reclaim back into here, this would have been the better trade, but you would have had to wait. These are daily candles now. So like I said, the day we had this conversation last week was right here. So this would have been, you know, several days later. And then even over here, depending on how you would have put a stop, you know, you might have even got stopped out. But this was a situation where you just kind of have to wait for it, right? If you weren't already in a short from higher, which we were looking at, we actually took some shorts right here at the NPOC that basically took us down into this region. Right, this one right here, 42,700, which is really where we ran up to right there. And from there, yeah, I mean, this would have been the ultimate trade. This is what we were looking for, what you're waiting on. Obviously, when the time comes, you got to kind of put in a context around you, like what else is going on in the market, because, you know, we could just start losing these levels and start heading down. But on a daily time frame, you did not lose it. Like I said, we were looking for this weekly level as well. But as far as to answer your question, there's a ton of times where you got to kind of wait. You know, you really want to just kind of let the trade come to you, especially if it's going to be a leverage trade, for one, because you can't afford to, you know, have these swings before, you know, say we start heading up right now and you got in over here, even without a stop loss around these levels, even if you're just going, you know, willy nilly. This is a lot of stress, right? Because you would have lived through this. You would have been up. You would have been feeling great. You would have done nothing different. You would have thought you were in at such a great area because we're $4,000 away. And then you would have ate it all, been in the red, and still would be in the red, because we're still not even back to where you would have entered at the other day, right? Like that's kind of how that would look like. So yeah, this was definitely the trade to be had. Very similar to the 47,700, right? This was the trade, even though that's not exactly where we stopped. These are the levels that we planned out this level for months to get to 47,700 to see the reaction. And when we did not reclaim it, this was an ideal short. This was an ideal long. Like, it's just situations like that. In the terms of like something's acting crazy and like I'm just going to look away from it. Yeah, if you don't feel good about something, I mean, yeah, it's not worth jumping in, especially if it's something like, you know, ApeCoin right now, or GMT, which I'm actually surprised GMT. I had to do the same thing with GMT. There's no history here, so I'm just pulling fibs for this. But this got listed on Coinbase, which is interesting to see, like ApeCoin as well. Like I don't know what the Coinbase you know, requirements are these days, because there's like
making money. That's the requirement.
Yeah,
there's a few,
transactional volume and fees. That's what the
But what I'm saying, I'm just surprised that there's other projects that at their highest, I'm sure they had you know, they can come up with a few whatever it is to get listed. But for whatever reason, they're not getting listed on there. But yeah, I mean, so it's a big patience game, man.
It seems like that's the whole crypto market. You know, we do so much hodling and play around with trading. You do so much trading and do some hodling. It seems like that seems to be the answer. We talk about that so much, but people never want to do it. They don't want to get in and sit and wait and be patient. People want to do what they want to do when they want to do it now. And it does. It burns people. It burns people all the time. It burns people in life. That's why, you know, a lot of times people aren't able to, you know, I don't think we're at the point in life where we can save our way to retirement. You've probably heard some TikToks about this. You've heard people talk about this. And I think that the patience is something that we can all learn from, whether it is in the hodling game or the trading game. So
yeah, 100%.
Well, Paul, we, as always, appreciate you coming on, brother. It's been a good TA Thursday, as always. If you guys didn't figure it out, we are still range bound. We're going to see what happens. We'll have CVO on next week. CVO, we've got your information down below the video. If you guys are looking where to find Paul and his technical expertise, check it out down below the video. We also have all of our information down below the video, so you can jump into our Discord, follow us on Twitter, do all the things. I think, Paul, do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say tonight, too, for anybody is interested, on my YouTube channel, CVO Crypto, myself, Magic Internet Money, the other trader and analyst that I work with, and Max, our order flow and open interest specialist. We're all going to have a
9:30.
Our own TA Thursday, I guess. Yeah, on at 9:30 tonight. Yeah, so in about an hour and 15 minutes, if anybody wants to chime in and kick it with us there. We're going to go over the last week's price action, stuff like that, a little bit of things more in detail. So
yeah, click on the link, guys. You can definitely learn over there for sure. And then, as always, before us, I forgot to start the stream off with this, but we're also got Frankie Candles over on BitBoy Crypto Show, 5:45 to 7:30. All right, crypto fam. If nobody's told you before today, we freaking love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. And just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
Until next time, hodl
like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.
Have a good night, everybody.